with his bare hands, like, crime scenes don't exist. Like, I get, like, the entire town is becoming a crime scene, but, like, who knows who's gonna come through this town next and, like, find Dean's, like, fingerprints on this bloody knife.
Not the first time it's happened.
Sam, meanwhile, is examining the body of Mr. Tanner, and Dr. Lee says Mr. Tanner has some sort of viral infection, and there's some, like, residue that seems to be sulfur-like in the blood, but no virus causes that, or extreme violence.
Yeah.
Dean reaches the edge of town, where a collection of guys, including Jake Tanner, are setting up a quarantine zone by order of the sheriff, who's not present at any point in this episode.
But we know he's got something to do with this.
Or they're just lying.
Maybe they already killed him.
Yeah, he could definitely already be dead. Dean declines to exit his vehicle by using the phrase, "Well, you are a handsome devil, but I don't swing that way, sorry," and I doth think the man protests too much.
We already know he's in denial.
Yeah, this guy came in with no vibes, and Dean felt pressured to proclaim that this guy was both handsome and that he was straight.
Yeah. I think part of it was just him joking, but you do make a good point.
I mean, this is not a great time for jokes, and also, like, as a bisexual with friends of varying identities, like, you never need to respond to strangers this way. Unless you are, in fact, swinging that way. It was just a lot. I was like, Dean, I think you're trying too hard, bud.
But also about the thing about this not being a good time for jokes. It's Dean.
It is Dean, yeah. He only knows bad times for jokes. That is true.
Every time is a good time for a joke.
Dean throws his car into reverse, and he drags this dude and does a cool turn while the other men are, like, start shooting at him.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. But it looks badass. Like, Dean whips this car around. It looks so good. Beverly attacks Dr. Lee, and she is strong, but Sam knocks her out before she hurts anyone. Sam goes flying into a cabinet, does not get knocked out. Very proud of him. Dean almost runs over our friendly Master Sergeant Mark. They're both on edge, and Master Sergeant Mark killed his neighbor, Mr. Rogers. Dean makes a Mr. Rogers joke.
Great.
And they agree reluctantly to go back to the doctors together, even though they're both unsure that the other one's not infected. Pam is freaking out a little, but Sam, like, tries to calm her down. He gets, like, a little bit whispery.
Pam, you need to be calmed by Sam.
Dean arrives back before she can, like, go anywhere. Like, she wants to leave, and then, like, but, like, Sam's like, you can't leave, and then Dean comes back, so she doesn't go anywhere. Dean says it's like the Omega Man out there, and the Omega Man is a 1971 film starring Charlton Heston as Robert Neville, an army scientist who survives a biological attack that is turning the human race into albino mutants.
That seems a bit ableist.
I agree, but...
I mean, the mutants part, fine, but, like...
Why are they albinos? Specifically, unclear.
Stop stigmatizing albinism.
Unclear what the reasoning is for that, but... I haven't seen this movie, so I don't have any details. Sam gives Dean the lowdown on the demonic virus stuff, and Sam says that John theorized in his journal that Croatoan was the name of the demon responsible for the disappearance of the Roanoke colony. Again, these people just left to get food.
He's done no historical research.
I assume in, like, the universe of Supernatural, like, maybe things like that are, like, a little bit, like, more mysterious than they are in our reality. Maybe our reality's a little more boring.
I really hope so, because it's flat out ignoring the fact that Croatoan's, like, a group of people.
Yeah. Exactly. Mark, the Master Sergeant, wants to just kill Beverly before she gets too strong, because everyone else in town was getting super strength. They're like, Dr. Lee, can you cure this? And, like, poor Dr. Lee's like, I just discovered that this virus existed 15 minutes ago. No one knows how to cure this. That's not how viruses work.
That is not how you science.
In 2022, we're like, yes, we know that is not how viruses work. I feel like everybody has a better working knowledge of viruses in 2022 than, like, 2006 writers ever dreamed imaginable.
We're just, like, watching this and we're all dead inside.
Anyways, all the men don't even really speak anymore. They all just get on board with the idea that they're gonna kill Beverly. Like, there's like, okay, if you can't cure her, like, we're just gonna do it. But Mark can't do it because he knows Beverly, so Dean does it for him. Because Dean has no qualms about shooting anybody in this episode until he does.
It's really funny that, like, he still was offended that Sam had that dream.
I know. I know. Pam is freaking out again, but they can't leave because there's nowhere to go. And Sam immediately is like, we should at least just try. Let's just try to go to the Roadhouse to their new mom, Ellen. It's a really equal distance from Oregon to Nebraska, where the Roadhouse is, and Oregon to South Dakota, where Bobby lives. Like, it's not going to save them any time to go to the Roadhouse versus going to Bobby's, but, like, Sam just wants a mom. Sam's like, this is a mom situation.
Also, the Roadhouse has more food.
And more, like, other hunters. They're like, we need help.
Yeah.
Even though Bobby is the phone network, like, if they get to the roadhouse, there will physically be other hunters already there to come help them.
Yeah.
Plus, like, Sam just, like, wants Ellen.
Yeah.
Dean makes a Night of the Living Dead reference, and Master Sergeant Mark says most of the people in the town have firearms, so, like, if they try and go out there, even if they can't, like, physically grab them, like, all of these, like, hopped up virus people, like, can shoot a gun and have guns available. And, like, he's like, we need a bomb to get out of here. Do you guys have a bomb? And Sam's like, I can make one, because he's a smarty pants. He's like, I'll just make some. Don't worry about it.
Of course they all have guns.
Dwayne Tanner, the guy that Dean killed in Sam's vision, arrives, and Dr. Lee is, like, giving him a thorough check. Dwayne is horrified. He's like, I was on my way home from a fishing trip, and I ran to hide when things got all, like, demonic and scary, but he has a cut on his leg, so they don't know if he has the virus or not.
Also, he was in Mean Girls.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was Shane Owen.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice. That's so bad. I love that movie.
It's fine. I didn't really see his face that much, so it's okay. It took me a while to figure it out.
I feel like it's the hair. The hair is really different.
That's right.
They decide that they're going to tie him up, and it took 3 hours for the virus to incubate in Beverly, but by then it was too late. Like, she was already had the, like, symptoms and everything. So they don't really want to just, like, wait it out, even though I think it would be totally fine to just wait it out. But
yeah,
Dean is ready to just kill this kid, and excuse me, Dean Winchester, but if you were going to get all indignant at the start of this episode, then you can't be this comfortable rolling the dice on whether or not this kid's actually infected. Like, wait it out, and then if he gets infected, just kill him then. Like, he's already tied up.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, dude.
You could have waited this out. Sam says that struggling with this kind of stuff is the point of their job, and when Dean asks what they get from struggling, Sam says a clear conscience, and Dean says it's too late for that because he's got guilt. He has both the secret guilt from John and also just generalized guilt disorder. Dean has, like, the guilt equivalent of anxiety at all times. Like, he has guilt over things that he has no business feeling guilty about.
He's probably guilty about the original Croatoan thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sam tries to stop Dean, and Dean shoves him and locks him in a room, which is a little bit, like, much. Dwayne is begging for his life, and Dr. Lee is like, I can't say one way or the other. Like, he might have the virus, he might not. I literally cannot tell. And Dwayne just starts sobbing. And everyone in the room is uncomfortable with what's happening, except for Dean. Like, you can tell nobody actually wants to shoot this kid, except for Dean. And then, like, the sobbing, like, gets to Dean. He gets a little shaky, and then he like, can't do it either. Some time passes. Like, a couple of hours pass that we don't see. And in those couple of hours that I wish we did see at least some of it, Sam just gets over the fact that Dean locked him in another room and was gonna kill someone. Because the next scene that we have, they're, like, making bombs together, you know, a fun Winchester family togetherness night activity.
It's like crafting.
It's like game night, but with explosives. Dwayne has been deemed to be in the clear, so they untie him. He did not have the virus.
Feel bad, Dean?
He doesn't seem to.
I mean, he usually does, so it's not like we're going to see signs of it.
Dean won't tell Sam why he didn't kill Dwayne, and his inability to open up to anyone literally kills Sam, or, like, it would if Sam wasn't a special child. Dean, like, literally almost gets Sam killed here, because he's unable to open up and speak to his brother like a human being.
Plot armor.
Literally. Dean doesn't want to talk to Sam, so he sends Sam to go get more alcohol, and Sam goes to get it, which leaves him alone with Pam the nurse, who shuts the door and then attacks Sam and intentionally infects him before Dean shoots her. Pam was infected the whole time, because the vibe meter is broken. Master Sergeant Mark immediately recognizes that Sam's infected. Dwayne is rightfully offended that Dean goes into full Big Brother mode, given that Dean was about to shoot him on, like, a maybe. Sam's, like, definitely infected, and Dwayne's like, what do you mean we're not gonna shoot him? You were literally about to shoot me, and I did not have it.
Literally, like, less than 3 hours ago, you know?
Yeah. Sam is ready to just do the job himself, because he knows it's the right thing to do, because he's a good person. And he also has, like, low self-worth. Yeah, he's got that self-sacrifice thing down. Sam has a very high value on his autonomy. I feel like we've talked about this a few times, but this episode is where it's really apparent. It's more important to Sam that he is himself than it is that he's alive. So he is very adamant that he's not gonna, like, get infected with this virus and turn into some monster. He's like, I'll just kill myself before that happens. Which is, like, a special children's storyline. Like, stuff, and, you know, some season 4 foreshadowing there, maybe a little also. But also just, like, we talk a lot about Dean's queer coding, but Sam also does have a lot of queer coding, and I think this is one aspect of Sam that is a little bit queer coded. That value of being who you are is, like, really important to, I feel like, a lot of queer experiences. Dean gives Master Sergeant Mark the keys to Baby, and I was just, I don't think I really registered this any of the other times I watched this episode.
Yeah.
But we've discussed before how important Baby is to Dean, and Dean's just like, well, I'm gonna stay here and die with Sam, I don't need Baby anymore, and he just gives Baby away to a stranger.
You know things are bad when.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
He's like, take Dr. Lee and Dwayne and leave so I can stay and die with Sam because I don't care about anything else, including Baby. And I was like, oh man, that's a lot.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
It did. Sam hates that plan and tells Dean to go with them, but Dean and Mark exchange a look, and Master Sergeant Mark immediately knows Dean's not going anywhere. Dr. Lee respects the heck out of these boys, and, like, as she's leaving, Dean locks them into the room and tries to, like, make light of the situation. Sam's in the whisper because it's literally all he can manage. Like, he's throwing things down, like, he wants to yell, and but he just can't get above a whisper. He's choking up. Sam says Dean can keep living, and Dean with no hesitation says maybe he doesn't want to keep living. Dean says he's tired of their job, their life, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Dean says part of it's their dad, and there's another part, and he doesn't get to that other part before Dr. Lee comes in the door, and we know that part is his responsibility to take care of Sam. Just getting increasingly harder as the episodes go by, and Sam's, you know, has more and more of these visions. The ability to look after Sam is getting less and less. But he doesn't say that because Dr. Lee comes to the door and's like, you gotta come see, the entire town is empty. We're the only people left in this whole town, which leaves just the word Croatoan on the pole, just like the Roanoke colony with the tree.
Woohoo, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Like, if you don't know any history, this episode is just really cool.
Yeah, also, like, there is something very, like, fun about, like, a town that's just, like, empty. And also, like, Croatoan virus comes back later, but, like, not for several seasons. And, like, that makes sense because this town is empty, so it's not just, like, spreading out everywhere. It's, like, contained.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't have to worry about, like, oh, like, why wasn't this addressed for a few seasons? Because it was fully contained in this episode.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee then declares that it's been 5 more hours and Sam's blood is totally clean, and says that Beverly and Mr. Tanner's blood are also clear of sulfur. Like, there's no sign that they had this infection either. It's just gone.
Interesting.
Yeah, and, like, weird because there doesn't seem to be any other bodies either. Like, everyone in this town is gone, but they still have the blood samples. Like, it sounds like they still have the bodies of the Tanners.
Yeah.
But, like, everyone else in town is gone.
Maybe the cleaning crew got sloppy, or they didn't want to get near the Winchesters.
Anywhere that they were. But anyway, Sam's fine, which is good news. Dwayne and Master Sergeant Mark are gonna head out together to some other place, and Dr. Lee is gonna go to the next town over Sidewinder to call the CDC and let them know what happened, even though there's, like, no evidence that anything actually happened, except for the fact that there's an empty town. And that leaves Sam and Dean as the last two standing in this town. Dean says he's gonna lose sleep thinking about all the unanswered questions that this has brought up. It's gonna be their one that got away. And I'm like, don't worry, baby boy. This one will quite literally come back to haunt you.
I mean, the ending has just such X-Files vibes because there are so many episodes where we don't actually solve the mystery.
I kind of like it. I'll be honest. I kind of like when like Dean's just like, I'm gonna like be up at night, especially because we've had a few episodes where Dean's like, nothing keeps me up at night, even though that's like just blatantly a lie. I like that this one was the one where he's like, I'm gonna be like sitting up and thinking about this for years.
Then you would enjoy the X-Files. It's like, this happens a lot.
Oh goodness.
Dwayne then asks Master Sergeant Mark to pull over so that he can make a phone call, and he pulls a Meg Masters, kills Mark, and uses his blood to make a demonic phone call, where he reports that the test is complete, and as expected, Sam was immune to the virus, and nothing's left behind. And he's got the demon eyes. He didn't have the virus because he was already a demon.
Poor Mark, like...
Oh, yeah, I know. Mark survived all of that just to get killed.
You didn't deserve that, dude.
Just get killed, like, in the style of Shady Van Guy number 2. Like...
Yeah.
You're too good to be shady bad guy number 2.
Literally. But yeah, like, that's the reveal that, like, this whole thing was a test, and, like, specifically a test to see if Sam was going to be immune to Croatoan or not.
Rude.
Mm-hmm.
Sam and Dean are then sitting on a fence by the water, having some beers together, and it's the next day, and Sam would like to know more about Dean being suicidal. He's like, dude, you were literally going to kill yourself for no reason, except for that I was dying. I don't know what you want me to do with that. Sam's like, if you don't tell me right now, I'm just going to keep bothering you. And Dean's like, maybe we should, like, have a vacation. We'll go see the Grand Canyon, or they'll go to TJ, which is